Welcome to Booklandia, where we review romance novels.
This and every episode are chock full of oversharing and spoilers. Every episode is rated E for explicit.
Oh my wow, hi.
Oh my, you are doing the most. Hi everybody, welcome to Booklandia. I'm Ford.
I'm Sky. And today's episode is going to keep me on my toes a little bit.
Excellent. So we're going to be talking about the Bareknuckle Bastards trilogy by Sarah MacLean. It's going to sound a little familiar because we've already done an episode about book one. So if you haven't listened to that, go back there because that's going to just like whet your whistle. It's going to whet your whistle. And we're not going to talk about that book in depth at all. I plan on focusing on books 2 and 3. Well, that's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie. But how are you?
I'm okay. So, I'm sorry. If you're watching the video, there's a lot happening. Firstly, a massive apology to everyone. There are no captions today. So, there are no words below us that periodically and very frequently get what I'm saying wrong. There are none.
We do not enunciate on this podcast.
We do not enunciate enough for good captions. So sorry about that altogether, but sorry a little bit today for what's happening because I had to switch over to a completely different machine. I had to build this machine a little bit up. It needed some graphics things, and I had to rebuild everything we're doing. So if it looks like I'm looking at 27 different bits, it's because I am making sure that all the bits got put back together. Like right now I'm looking for our timer. It's somewhere on the screen and I'm sure I will find it, but I haven't found it yet. So in case there's clicking or me just being totally distracted, I found the timer. We're fine.
Great. So what I'm hearing is if the Bareknuckle Bastards wasn't a period novel, but was set in modern day, one of the characters would build her own computer. Because that is the whole vibe I just got from that.
I mean,
I just installed my own graphics card. You could drop me in a Best Buy and I could not pick a graphics card off the shelf and hand it to you.
To be fair, in a Best Buy, that is a challenge most everybody could not complete.
Great. I was going to say fries, but then I thought I was maybe over challenging myself. And I mean, that fries also don't really exist anymore.
Yeah, fries went out of business. Yeah. Anyways, there's a whole story about an extremely misogynist man who tried to explain to me what a graphics card does while I was trying to buy one. That story is not for today, but it does fit into your entire historical premise here.
Yes. Amazing. I had a whole thing. I was going to talk to you about something in this moment, and I literally cannot remember what it was. I was up too late playing D&D. Oh, okay. You have a thing.
So my thing is totally random. It's completely random, and it's it's a story. It's story time. So here's the story, and it has to do with the fact that I was putting on makeup earlier, and I was very frustrated. So, I am a person that suffers from hormonal acne, and so when I put on makeup, I'm like, ooh, great. Now I know where I am in my hormone cycle because thank you, face, for just like showing up for me. And the thing I thought about is I had, so my mom had a coworker a long time ago who was younger than her, so it was kind of like I had a big sister because I hung out with this person a lot. And one of the very last interactions I remember with this person is her telling me that she thought that acne was for teenagers, but she's an adult and she still has acne and she's very mad about it. And I literally thought that today. I was like, I am so mad about this. Why is this a thing? So in case, dear listeners and viewers, you are in my boat, firstly, hello and welcome to the boat. And secondly, I feel ya, and damn it. Just damn it.
Yeah. Yeah. I get like one huge pimple in a really obvious place on my face. So that was me like last week, and I had a huge one on my chin. And Finn was like, "Did you scratch yourself? Are you bleeding?" And I'm like, "No, this is a scab from a pimple I scratched. That was gross. I'm really sorry. That was graphic. But
No,
it was
there you
on my
go.
face for like a week. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, there you go. So that's
real.
what I thought about is how it is rarely addressed in in novels of any kind. Everyone has flawless skin, or they have a very noticeable scar. Look at me bringing it back to the bare-knuckle bastards and then pointing it out because I'm not cool enough to keep my cool.
Tangents are hard.
Okay, so I do want to swerve back to the bastards, and
Great.
I really wanted to talk about the entire series and also how it fits into the multiverse of series. That are
the Sarah MacLean multiverse.
The Sarah MacLean
We're in phase
multiverse.
5. Yeah.
Right. So we started with Bombshell, which is the first in the most recent portion of the storytelling, but turns out Hell's Bells are the fifth section of the same part of London, if you will, the same people. I suspect that we've probably traveled a few decades forward now, or maybe at least a decade forward. Because there's a couple of things in the Bastards, especially at the end of Bastards, that there's like a flash forward with their kids being older. And then in Hell's Bells, I'm not sure if we're immediately at the end of Bastards or if we're forward.
Like the oldest kid is 6 or something, and she's putting makeup on her.
Right.
Or something like that.
So then, yes, this is after the flash forward of the end of the Bastards. So, you guys, there are rakes and rogues and...
By the numbers.
So numbers. So it's numbers, rakes, rogues, bastards, bells.
Yeah.
Yes. In case you didn't follow that entire logic, Goodreads it is all I have to tell you there.
Yeah. Or do what we did, buy a book and open to page 2.
Yes, also that. So these are the most recent these what they're called, tradebacks? Sure. I'm going to go with yes. I'm sorry. I'm extremely official now. Nope.
It's trade paperback, so you're just portmanteauing it, but...
Okay. All right, very good.
It's not a word.
It's not a word. Is it really not a word? Okay, now I'm going to fixate on that. All right, so you have the first one.
Yep.
And then I have number 2.
I have to show the people the step back. Okay.
Oh, that's right. There is this situation. There's the interior bit.
Yeah.
And I sort of love, and then this is number 3. And I sort of love, I haven't even opened this one all the way so it doesn't bend properly.
Yeah.
The fact that these are historically massively inaccurate, and they're I know you, by the way, I know that you called that out on a social media post, and I was like, yeah, it's true. I am really bothered by this terrible historical.
I find your costume knowledge so intriguing because it's something I don't have at all, really. Like, I could be like, it's maybe Victorian. I couldn't tell you which Victoria, but like, I could be in the ballpark. I could be in the right century.
There's only one Victoria. To this day,
Two
there's
Elizabeths?
only been 2 Elizabeths, 1 Victoria. Very good.
Okay, great, okay, woo! See? And I'm so intrigued by it, how you could tell by, like, corseting what era it is.
It's different!
No, I know, there's the under boobs and the over boobs and the up highs and the flattens it outs, and if there's one at all, but, like, it just is your superpower.
Now, again, in the text of the novels, Sarah MacLean did her research and is describing period-appropriate clothing. The covers are just, like, extremely not intentionally, but still, it's one of those things where I'm like, why are they not properly dressed? Because it'd be hard to show knee and above if they were properly dressed.
Aha, sure. Do we want to tell the people what this book series is even about?
At this point, sure. Yes, I know you wrote this. I haven't looked at it at all, so it's going to be amazing, obviously.
It's also the best writing I've ever done in my life.
Excellent. Well, everybody prepare yourselves for just the greatest.
That's not true.
The greatest performance of a lifetime.
Woo! Lights
You ready?
fade to black. In the blackout, we hear a ticking clock. No, we don't.
No, we don't. What did I do to
I
the
don't
ticking
hear
clock?
it at all.
I
I
don't
mean,
either.
it's counting down, but
I know. Hold on. I'm gonna fix it. I'm sorry. I know you guys can't. Some of you guys can see it, but I am gonna fix it. Oh, I can't fix
I
it.
mean,
gotta
I
wait
can
for
also watch it for you.
Oh, I think I know. I did something terrible, and the terrible thing I did is that.
You unpinned a menu. Never unpin a menu, everyone.
That is, if you are to learn anything from me restarting things, never unpin a menu. All right, let's try this one more time.
Okay,
Wait,
we're gonna.
Okay, go ahead.
We're gonna. Lights fade to black, and in the darkness we hear a ticking.
All right. These 3-book trilogy follows 4 people bound by blood, childhood, and an asshole of a father. Book 1, Wicked and the Wallflower, we cover in a previous episode, so go listen to that. But it follows the brother Devil and his lady love, lockpicking Felicity. Book 2 is Brazen and the Beast with brother 2, Beast, and his business-savvy woman Hattie. The 3rd book follows the villain of the previous books, final brother Ewan, and the woman Beast and Devil were hiding from him, Grace.
So you've read that book, right?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
indeed, I have. Yes, no, it's Ewan, but I got really intimidated by all of the words that followed. Also, a 3-book trilogy is the ATM machine of sentences.
Look, I told you it was my best writing ever for a reason, because I wrote it and I did not proof it at all.
Yes, I understand. I am, however, crying about it.
Absolutely. I kind of did some stuff to mess with you, let's be honest.
All right. Well, so their names are Devin, Whit, and Ewan.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also actually listened to this one. So in the previous episode, we had a whole conversation about Marvick versus
Marwick. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hear no difference in what you're saying, but yes, Marwick versus Marvick. Is that the issue?
Yes.
Aha!
Yes.
Aha! Okay,
You've
great.
reached it.
Great.
It does the vision, does the look of the letter go 1 chevron or 2 chevrons?
Right, so it's 2 chevrons,
Mhm.
according to the audiobook narrator.
So they say Marwick.
Yes, they do. They say Marwick.
Brilliant. They are normal people.
Well, yes. So it gets a little confusing in that so in the story, in the 3rd story, she goes by Dahlia now. She used to go by Grace, but neither are actually her name because her name is really Robert. But it's not actually her name. Robert is the given name of the presumed Duke of Marwick. And Grace has no name. She's the woman with no name. And
It's
Grace
cool.
is
It's pretty
the
dope.
name. Yeah, no, not at all, but she rocks it anyways.
That's true.
So yeah. So the story
And so
Go ahead.
like Devil takes the name of Devil. Devil is the street name for Devin, and Beast is the street name for, what was his name
Wit.
again? Wit.
Xavier
Yeah.
Whittington. Xavier Whittington, the most historical romance name ever.
he did not turn out to be a secret angel, and I was a little mad about it. This was not a paranormal romance, but with the name Savior Whittington, there should be Gossamer White Wings.
That did not occur. Not at all. It was
Not at all.
It was a play on words. He was a savior who was really a beast. It was a whole juxtaposition situation, I suspect.
Sure. Okay. So I want to talk about book 2. I'm
Yes.
gonna just do it.
Ask your question because my question is better afterwards.
Wow.
That is not okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking
No,
with it.
I
Yeah.
totally see how that sounded terrible. Please continue.
My question is just the amuse-bouche to your entree of better question. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so my biggest complaint with book 2 is that it felt very cookie cutter, not quite scene for scene, but like scenes and scenes, and then we're shuffling them around to book 1. So sort of a very similar startup, very similar, like, meeting. And the biggest one, the part where I was like, is she just fucking with us? When book 2 also had a bathtub seduction in his room.
Yep.
And I'm just like, you just wrote that. Did you want to try it again? Did you want to
this
take
time
2?
with pants? Well, the difference is
this time with pants.
She doesn't leave this time. The first time she leaves, and the second one, Hattie doesn't leave. She stays.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
hard agree. Moreover, the whole premise with Ewan, that Ewan is going to marry the love interest, to spite the bastards. That happens in book 1. And that also happens in book 2. So hard agree. Absolutely yes. It's like, oh, you liked this? Let's do it again. There are notably two differences, and they're very small, but they're really fun. The scene that I'm gonna bring up after the break, in the shipyard, and then the fact that we get I feel like we become a more omniscient observer in book 2, because there's stuff with Grace and there's stuff with Ewan in book 2 that we like. Book 1 is strictly either Devil or Felicity, but in book 2 we get some of the other character stuff, and so I think that's really the biggest difference, is that periodically there's like stuff going on and we are privy to it. That wasn't the case in book 1.
I would also say in book 2, Hattie is a more independent heroine.
Yes.
Like, she's already ready and fully formed to run her father's business. And the only thing that's stopping her is her sex and gender. So I liked that. I liked that her strength in this world is more than I can pick a lock, which is fantastic and very cool, and I enjoyed that a lot from Felicity, and didn't expect that from Felicity, but it was more than a party trick.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Hattie is a more complex character all around, and like, she's a curvy woman and a tall woman, so in terms of looking like the gentry, she doesn't feel like she fits, and she kind of doesn't care. She knows what she wants literally from the very beginning, and she dumps him out of a carriage the first chance she gets, and it's kind of glorious. I liked Hattie better than Felicity as a character. I do agree. What are your feels on...
Well, I was just gonna say, I had to look up her name when we were reviewing to do this book.
Ooh.
Because book 1 reminds you that her name is Felicity Faircloth. You do not forget that name. She is a comic book character, Felicity Faircloth. So
do you mean Hattie? You had to look up Hattie?
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. Okay. So sorry.
No, it's fine. So of the 3 women, Do you have a fave?
Mm-hmm. No. No.
Okay. See,
I like
didn't
them
have,
all for different reasons. So, sorry, go ahead.
I
Yeah.
didn't have to look up Hattie's name because Hattie is my favorite. I really wanted to like Grace, but she ended up falling on a couple of tropes that I was like, I wish,
Yeah.
but it didn't happen. Okay, so here's my plot-related question for you. Were
Okay.
there any surprises, like true plot twists that you were like, oh shit, didn't see that coming?
I mean, I definitely liked her pushing him out of the carriage. I liked that they, in book 3, they made Ewan fight a gang.
Yes,
It was so
gladiator
dumb.
style. It was very
So
dumb. It was so
dumb.
much like brawn for brawn's sake.
Yeah. I'm. We talked about the 6 million locks at the end of book 1.
Yeah.
And I think that the whole smuggling with the ice, that's pretty fun and unique, and haven't read or experienced that before. How about you?
The only like there were a couple of true surprises. There was like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming. And I think for me it was at the end of book 2, spoiler alert you guys, the second explosion when he tries to save Hattie.
Yeah.
But the moment that happened, it was like, oh, book 3 is about Ewan not being a bad guy. Duh.
Right. Yeah.
Up until that point, it's sort of in there, but maybe not. And then, in book 3, when he proposes to her in the middle of the brawl, and she says, "You set all of this up," and like pulls us back in time and like traces all of his setups, and I was like, "Oh shit! I did not see that. I did not see that he lined all of this up," and it like that goes into our conversation about tropes later, because this is the like we're gonna be destined, like we were predetermined to be together forever situation, which I hard disagree with, but that her like turning around on him, and instead of, because up until that point I was like, oh, she's gonna say yes because like she softened up to his brand of love, and then she goes, oh no, you orchestrated my feelings, and I did not expect that.
Yeah, I really do like how self-aware Grace was.
Yeah.
Tense. I mean, she was very ahead of her time, and I think she was very self-aware, self-actualized. Yeah, I liked her a lot as a human being. Yeah. I'd want to be friends with her, but she would be so much cooler than I am. It's very sad.
I mean, I disagree. You are an extremely cool human.
I know. I was just mining for compliments. Thank you. Thank you so much. I would strive. I would strive to be friends with a lady brothel owner.
I was gonna say, you do need to, reverse harem some stuff, and then also learn how to fight with a scarf. So things to work on.
Can we talk about that?
The fighting with the scarf? It's such a video game move. Like,
yes. Is this Mortal Kombat?
Right?
So it's weighted, like she's sewed in weights on one side.
Yeah, and then she just swings it, and then gravity binds it around the opponent's neck, essentially. Yes.
Yeah, or you whip crack it or something.
Right. Yeah, like a wet towel. Yeah. I mean, yes. The 2 times she uses it, she wraps it around someone's neck, and then she whacks them in the head with it. So.
Yeah. It's weird, right?
I mean,
it's really weird.
It's a very specific cudgel, I feel like.
Do we think well, can you open your book and tell me what the publishing date is for book 3?
Yeah, it's pretty recent.
I have a theory.
It's like 2019, I think, because it definitely in the very back says, oh no, hold on. The first mass market printing is July 2020, and the first hardcover is June 2020. Why?
Wow. You got to release your hardcovers first. At any rate, sounds like Sarah MacLean was watching a lot of John Wick. So, respect.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Doesn't that sound like a John Wick fight scene?
It absolutely does. It 100% does. No, I really liked it, but it did feel very video game. It was like, oh, this, like, I feel like you've seen this somewhere, and then you put it in here because it's just such a cool move.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know that we're sort of in the middle of a really big series with all of these characters, but did you feel like...
And you're talking about the multiverse.
The multiverse. The Sarah MacLean multiverse. Also, let's just keep that.
MacLean-verse. The MacLean-verse. Okay, great.
So, I felt a little like all of these characters were the tiniest bit surfacey. Or a whole lot surfacey. Like, we get a little bit about most of their... Like, we get a little bit about them as children. And a little bit about their parentage. And then we get them right now, and there's like a giant chunk in the middle where they have persevered against their odds, which is a great character arc. But what I didn't get is like, what are their like likes and dislikes? What are their preferences that make them more three-dimensionally human? And I kind of wanted more of that. I feel like in Bombshell, I know a lot more about Cecily's personal preferences than I do about Grace's or Wit's or Devil's.
Yeah, I remember when I read 3, they hint at the fact that Grace was a sex worker for a time. But it is the barest hint. Like, you could read it and think it was something else. But I read it and was like, oh, she felt the need to do sex work to help them survive on the streets. Did you even read into that? Is that just a thing I read into?
No, there's like one sentence, and it's sort of a vague sentence because he says, did you have to do that? Referring to sex work. And she says, we all had to make do. But then she says, but I was much better with my hands, implying that she was a better fighter than she was a sex worker. But it is not clear as to whether or not she started in sex work or if she always just went after the fights. It's kind of a muddy conversation. It's unclear.
Right. And I like it feels like that Sarah MacLean shied away from that conversation, which her perspective on feminism and female strength, like, I want to read that. I want to read her sex work positivity, like dressing down of somebody else.
Right, not just in terms of supporting other sex workers in their trade, but also owning that as part of her identity. Yeah. Yeah,
not Sarah MacLean's, the character's identity.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, her in this sentence was Dahlia.
Yeah, exactly. It could have been so powerful, and it would have solved your problem, perhaps.
I think so. Well, maybe some of it, yes. For at least
some of it, right?
For
it
Grace.
Would have accounted for it.
Of the bastards, I feel like I had the least connection with Grace. I sort of understood her the least, but so that might have solved it. So yes.
Can we talk about Ewan McGregor? Every time.
I did not. This character did not look like Ewan McGregor, but
he could because he has a scruffy beard through the whole movie. So
missed opportunity on my mind's eye. How dare my brain not put that in the memory bank? Disappointed with my own nugget.
I'm disappointed with your nugget too.
It was going to be a noggin and the nugget, and it was the whole thing. But yes, anyways, how come my brain didn't put that together? Gross. Okay.
I didn't, when I read it, I didn't either, but every time you've said Ewan tonight, my brain is like, McGregor. And I just finish it. My brain just finishes it in the accent. Has to be.
I mean,
so
has to be.
Ewan McGregor is the villain for book 1 and for book 2. And at the end of book 2, he explodes ships, and over the course of the book has been the reason for like a dozen people's deaths.
Yep.
And there's like one scene in book 3 where they're like, but those people. And then it was fine. It wasn't fine, but like they let it go. Like,
well, that's why he's hauling ice while everybody's looking at him, and that's why he gladiator styles it with the Mahoney brothers. There we go.
Ah, the Mahoney brothers. Yes.
And right, like that's
the
sort of
Mahoney's
like
versus the McGregors. It's an
right.
epic battle.
That's the penance, right? That's the penance scene that like he's.
But that, I get that, but she told me that's what it was.
Right, and it didn't feel like it because she told you that that's what it is.
Right, and it's like, look how much he's bleeding from because we didn't give him the proper tools to haul ice, and he's just having to haul it bare. Bare is the best word. Yeah. He's hauling it bare. Bare backing it, if you will. You're welcome. You're welcome, Ewan McGregor. It just like it didn't land because there was a lot of telling. That scene just wasn't there wasn't enough like, let me get to it.
Yes. There's also like there's this really cinematic moment at the end of the brawl that sort of felt like a little bit of a missed opportunity because basically he's being beat up by all these people and he gets to the point where he might not make it out of the brawl, and Grace stops the fighting and parts the sea of brawling men and walks up to him. And all of that was very, like, that felt like a really cinematic scene that, like, the sea parts and she's in the middle of it and it's great. But then I really needed him to be kneeling and he wasn't. Because there's a sentence about him being taller than her in that moment. And I was like, no, he should be on his knees. Like, this is the point, right? He is at the lowest point physically and emotionally and at her mercy. And that power dynamic sort of like, it was like perfect and then it broke for me. And I was like, like just staging, just a little bit of staging.
A little bit of stage. Thank you for bringing that up. I have some staging issues in book 2. Book 2, that's the one where they get dirty in a gazebo.
Yeah, no, that's
correct?
book 3. That's here. That's in
book 3. Okay, it's book 3, and it's at the very beginning.
Yes.
Yes, it's the masquerade.
Yeah.
Thank you. That scene was absolutely riddled with blocking issues and prop tracking. Because at one point they're like, she's sitting on the balustrade, on the handrail. And then they're standing and leaning against it. And then there was like gloves or there's some sort of hand prop that she mentions and then it wasn't there and it should have been. It took me out and I didn't care for it, and I will absolutely proofread any Sarah MacLean books for blocking and prop tracking focus.
Yeah. And then they bring up that scene over and over again and the whole like, I am the throne and you are the queen on the throne. Which, okay.
Is that hot? That hot?
Thank you. That is exactly where I was brain-wise. I was like, I mean, it's a sit on my face situation, which, sure, okay. Like, in Victorian speak.
Right. Or it's a sit on my cock situation. Like, reverse cowgirl it. Like, Neon Gods just did it better. Look, if we're gonna sit on a throne. that scene was
yeah. All right. Well, in that case, you guys just for the sit on the throne part, go over there
Yeah.
to New Young Gods, but then do come back.
Yeah.
There's more here.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm gonna bring us out of a sex haze,
Great.
and into historical context.
Is it possible? Can you even? How strong are you? We shall see.
We shall see.
Historical context.
See, there's a great afterword that Sarah MacLean wrote, particularly after the third book. There's one after every book, but the one after the third book talks about the reign of Queen Victoria and how it changed women's rights, first for the better and then for the worse because of the backlash. And there's a backlash at the change to women's rights every time.
Apparently.
There's a good swath of yay. There is then a massive swath of... See, I got us right out of the sex haze by bringing up women's rights.
That's a cold bucket of water. Thank you. Let us continue.
Welcome. Very
well
welcome.
into the rage.
Yes. My point is that I wish that some of that commentary was more self-evident in the text of the book. There's a little bit in there, but
especially in 3,
especially in 3. Yeah, there's a commentary about like the class system and the ton and how the House of Lords is run and why that matters and how that can affect change if someone tried, and Ewan tries and then decides that that's actually not gonna work out, that affecting change from a seat of power is not possible, which needs to be like, I wish that was a conversation that continued further. So Adriana Herrera just wrote a historical earlier this year, and in it she put in all of this history that is actual and wonderful and underrated historically, because it talks about women of color, business women of color in at the turn of the 20th century, which is awesome. My point here is that she put all of that history in there, and the sexy bits and the historical bits, so it is possible without really muddying the waters to get the history in there. So I like, this is wonderful. It's feminist. It's wonderful. There's sex scenes. There's fight scenes. There are pants on women. I know, shocker.
So many pants on women.
So many pants and pockets. Pants and pockets. But I just wanted this much more history.
Wow. Who are you? What have you done with Sky? Yeah, like I that's such an intriguing like grain that I would have loved to see cultivated and grow into something a little more, because that is, I'm not a historian and I haven't read a lot of like feminist history nonfiction. I don't read a lot of nonfiction. I need to get my history from my fiction.
Right, exactly. And a lot of people do. And like, what would be so wrong with like slipping a little knowledge in between the sheets?
Oh. I like, can you talk more about that forward, or like talk more about that actual historical moment? Is that something you feel comfortable doing?
I mean, I am no historian.
You're a costume historian.
That's about as far as I can throw that stone.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure. Okay.
But so essentially, so sex work is legal when this book is set. And I put that in quotes because that's sort of a vague time. And then Victoria comes into power. A lot of women.
And Victoria is the first female queen?
Since Elizabeth.
Okay, so second total.
Well,
okay.
Mary, Queen of Scots, was Queen of England before Elizabeth for a very short time, and then there was the War of the Roses for a very long time, and then eventually they beheaded her. So technically, at least third, right? If we count Mary, and then Elizabeth I, and then Victoria the First. Technically, Victoria the First and only. There has not been a Victoria II yet. So Victoria comes into power. People get really excited about it, particularly women get really excited about it because there's a woman running a country, and at the time, really prominent country. So women start moving up into the jobs that were typically only for men, because this one woman is doing a job of a man, essentially, in the most basic and the dumbest way you could put that sentence, right?
She has ultimate power, so therefore other women could have more power.
Right. And that agitation, so like there are women writers that can publish. There are unmarried women that figure out a way to live without having a husband's name or a husband's power. There are women who become inventors, and women who start studying science and math and STEM. All of this is wonderful. This does not last long for women because men get very angry at all the power that women have amassed. How dare they? And so
it's not pie. More for me doesn't mean less for you.
Exactly. It is not pie, and yet it feels like pie to some people. And so men with political power start taking women's rights away. So sex work becomes illegal in England. And so prior to that, it was just I guess, not spoken about, or uncouth, if you want to say that, in the social circles of the town, but it was perfectly legal. It becomes illegal. That gets into a whole situation where sex workers get pushed into a lower and lower and lower class. Like, it's a whole thing. Read up on that, please and thank you. to trust a historian who definitely isn't me. But
hashtag trust a historian.
Hashtag trust a historian, basically at all times, because, and this is truly where trust a historian works out, this is one of the many instances of this exact pattern, where women come into power, which allows other women to feel free to move up in the world, and then that excess of women or underrepresented minorities of all sorts rising up gets some people with insecurities and pie issues in a knot and a twist and a hypoglycemic coma, and they decide to take that power away, which blows. So trust the historian over and over and over again, because in case people haven't been watching the news, we're there again. Here we is again.
What would you say has been the catalyst for our current moment? Like, that one was very obviously Queen Victoria and her coronation. Is it that we have a female vice president?
I mean, I think it started with the fact that a woman ran for the presidency and came really close to actually having the vote. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that. But the fact that women are
popular.
Women are in power, right? Nancy Pelosi has a lot of power. There are politically
Angela Merkel,
Angela Merkel for years.
The Prime Minister of New Zealand is a woman.
Jacinda. 10
points if you 10 points.
Hold on.
Okay. We'll come. It'll pop in. Just yell out the name.
Her first name is Jacinda for sure, but I will get to her last name as well. Her face is in my head. Yes. So there are women who are making laws, right? There are women who are not white women who are making laws. It's should be really exciting. We should be overjoyed by this. And yet the pie situation.
The most exciting content that I see on social media or on Twitter, whatever, it's whenever AOC posts something or when Ilhan Omar posts something. And I'm just like, I want to hear, did I say it wrong?
No, Arden. Jacinda Arden.
Jacinda Arden. Did you look? Did you cheat?
I thought it was Arden, and then I checked to be right.
Okay.
So yes, I did cheat.
10
8
points to Ravenclaw?
I don't know. I mean, I should know, but I don't know.
Okay, well,
we're doing that later.
Yeah, we're doing that later. Yeah. I really hate the patriarchy. I really hate the white patriarchy, and it's
that's really where we're at. This is where we're at.
Great. Should we leave everyone to rage against the white patriarchy?
Yeah, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about sexy bits. Yeah. All right. We will be right back with the sexy bits. Hold on, maybe. This is where we're all gonna watch me do the thing where I find the title.
While we wait for Sky to do this, I'm going to do a book recommendation. Just interrupt me whenever you're done. So this book is called My Lady's Choosing by Kitty Curran and Larissa Zagaris. And Sky bought this for me, and it is a choose-your-own-adventure romance novel. Are you ready?
I'm ready, but I wanted you to finish this blurb.
No. Come back for more details.
We're going to take an intermission. When we come back, we will discuss our favorite moments from the book and if this book made us want to get naked.
And we're back. And
bubbles!
Blowing bubbles. Okay, and we're back. And we are talking about the entirety of Sarah MacLean's Bareknuckle Bastards trilogy.
Say that 5 times fast.
Hard pass.
Bareknuckle Bastards, Bareknuckle Bastards, Bareknuckle Bastards, Bareknuckle Bastards. It's not great. It's not great.
It's not great.
Did you ever, whenever you say that, are you like me and you say in your brain is going, don't say moose knuckle? No, that's just me.
Bare knuckle, but no, I do not think about moose knuckles, but now I will. Sorry, now I will.
You're welcome.
All right, let's talk compelling moments from these. So what stands out the most out of the 3 books for you?
I literally did not write anything in this blurb because I skipped it in my brain. The book covers are very brightly colored. I like that a lot. What actually stands out? I mean, it's the entire reason we came back to Sarah MacLean from Hell's Bells. It's a strong feminist heroine. It's a woman that isn't just moving through her life because society has dictated how she moves through her life. Yes, that is why.
You know what? I took that for granted. I periodically do that. I took the feminist twist for granted. But you're absolutely right. Yes, it's the fact that it's a historical that does not follow convention. No one is swooning for any reason other than they're actually passing out. Yes.
Because they got punched in the face.
Because they got exactly
or something.
So right? Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yes, that. I also really believed that these 4 people are siblings. Like the way that Whit and Devon don't talk but communicate with each other, the way they care,
it's all eyebrows
and like nods and taps of the stick, and then whenever they want Dahlia to really listen to them, they call her Gracie so that it like makes her feel like a soft and mushy. Like there's a scene in the 3rd one where they're all just having dinner together, and the dinner scene is just really specific, and then there's a conversation on the rooftop where the 2 brothers are like, you're in love with him and you should deal with that, and we're gonna have to deal with our feelings because we care about you. And and she was like, what are you even talking about? And they're like, please, we know. We already know. You haven't seen it yet because you're in your own head, but we have seen it and we know. That was lovely and wonderful, and I love a good sibling bond. It's a good like familiar joy, especially in this instance where they're technically not they're not siblings by blood necessarily. They're half siblings, most of them, except for Grace, who's not related to them biologically at all, which is good because she ends up sleeping with one of them. So it's a good thing she's not biologically related to him.
Yeah. Yes, that was done really well. There is a reason why this is currently the only historical on my bookshelf.
I agree.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. So what was your hottest take? What's your hot take?
Okay, so it's funny. I wrote something and then it got erased, so I had to rewrite it because it's so significant. So there are a bunch of times where it was like, "Oh yeah, okay," but the most surprising sex scene of the bunch.
I'm so sorry. Are you talking when he stands up from the bathtub?
No,
that was pretty spicy for me. I was like, because it's like a copper bathtub and it's all candlelit. Okay.
Yeah,
anyway,
no.
So sorry.
I think that's really spicy, and there's 2 of those, so that's really great. Like you get to relive that with a different ending. No, the most surprising sex scene to me was in book 2 when she ties him to the mast and then gives him a blowjob while he's trying to break the mast. I was like, what is even happening? But okay.
Yeah. Are you saying sex on an ice cube is not the most?
I was definitely worried about some permafrost situation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Great.
No. But like,
was
out
there
in the
unique sex scene in book 3?
I mean,
I don't remember it.
They like tried to figure out life in a chair. Like
there was some sort of like handy in the bar back room.
Oh no, he goes down on her in a back room of a bar. Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's public-ish, but
yeah.
Considering that she's the proprietress of fantasy, their fantasies were like super tame by comparison. But no, Wid getting tied to the mast, I was like a portion of my brain kept trying to figure out what knot she used. But it didn't detract from the sexiness of the scene. Or the fact that there's like 3 solid sentences about her removing his knives and setting them down gently because she's so reverent of that in the midst of like hard on in her face.
Yeah. She can really multitask, Hattie.
Hattie was a good multitasker of the bunch, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the most like holy shit, what is happening? And yes, please, I will keep reading this.
Yeah. So it sounds like that is also your did this make you want to get naked moment. Not just your hot take, but also your naked-ish.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I skipped to the next bit, didn't I?
Yeah, the thing that got erased wasn't actually erased, it was just further down on the page. It's fine.
True story. The hot take is read it so you can figure out what I'm talking about, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
We're gonna, I don't know about you, but I'm clearly gonna go through the back catalog. I'm just debating whether or not I go all the way to the beginning and crawl.
Right.
Or if the next Hell's Bell is coming out at the end of this month, so I'm gonna stop everything else and read that.
You're gonna throw someone out of your carriage to go read that book.
Yes, hard yes.
Excellent. It makes sense, and I fully approve. So my hot take is I really, really liked book 1. I will do anything Devil tells me to do, especially if he whispers it to me from the shadows. And book 2 is great. I really liked Hattie. I liked her strength. I liked her entire sort of like plot line of running the business. Book 3 was fine. It was fine. It so far of the things I've read that Sarah MacLean has written, that was my least favorite. So yeah, and so I too can wrap my hot take into a did it make me want to get naked? And
please
it's like
do.
And devil is please do. I will stand in the light and you can stay in the shadows. Hey.
Finn, please take a note. Apparently this is a thing. This is a thing you should know about.
I'm literally burning a candle right now. It does say calm your tits, so.
Excellent.
Everyone looks good in candlelight.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like I have nothing more to say. Do you have anything more to say?
I don't, other than in case you haven't read our socials, I met Sarah MacLean and it was a crazy moment in my life. So go read that story. It was amazing. This is my noise that I make every time I think about it. Just that.
And she gave you stickers.
And she gave me stickers. Thank you so much for the stickers. They are getting to the book club. I promise they will get there.
Yeah. Great. So, my lady's choosing.
This segue was so rough, but please continue.
Thank you. Is a historical choose-your-own romance novel where you get to choose between a multitude of potential lovers. I followed the rich, handsome, sassy Duke. I like a sass. And but you could go with the single dad. You could go with there's some paranormal options that were very surprising when I read all the endings. There's a sapphic option. There's one where you end up owning your own brothel. So this book is really delightful, and I've heard nothing about it anywhere else, and I recommend it highly. So go pick that book up.
I'm so glad that was an on the whim. I bet you're gonna love it because I know how much you love a choose your own adventure. Yeah. So I'm so glad that I was right about that.
Brilliant. It's brilliant. The sex scenes are medium. There's like one per storyline, and there's like a slight fade to black, but slight sexy. So like it's delightful. It's a delightful experience.
Well, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sticking through this kind of confusing conversation about 3 books jammed into 2 books, but really all 3. I'm glad we were here for it.
Thank you for pushing all the buttons and making the thing happen.
Anytime, or most of the time, anywho. But brilliant. Not this one time.
Thank you for joining us for an episode of Booklandia.
For more Booklandia, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at l.skyford, Twitter at skyfordl, and hit up our blog, lskyford.com.
We love you to the moon and back, so don't forget to rate and subscribe.
Our eternal thanks for the audio editing and support provided by Finnegan Murphy, who you can find on Twitter at Finnegan1, that's FIONNEGAN, numeral 1, and sometimes Sky herself.